Have another story
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Stand Up Second Sunday. It is the third Sunday of the month, so we got a great show for you tonight. If you need any drinks or soda or anything like that, we're in the back. Daniel and I will take care of you. Last call will be when the second to last performer finishes. So come and get your drinks before the last show. And the restrooms down the hall. If you need anything, just give us a shout. Hey, you know him, you love him, Carl Wolfson.
Those are my wedding vows. You know him, you love him. Let's have the fucking cake. All right, how are you? I always like to start the show on a high note. How are you, Johanna? Good to see you. Johanna. Johanna has a laugh. So if the comics don't hear that, they're bombing. I just want you to know. There's no pressure, but it's all up to. There's a special place in my heart for emphysema, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin, good to see you here, and Kay and everybody, and here we are trying to have fun and the second Trump term, or as I call it, Wicked Part 2. Somebody has to tell Trump that the Gulf of America identifies as transatlantic. Somebody needs to tell him. I've lived through a lot in my life, but not this. My marriage, 27 years. That's a lot to live through. Many of you know Gary, 27 years. He's younger than me by a bit and more athletic. Yeah, that's not the joke. Thank you, Paul. But he did climb Mount St. Helens not long ago, and I was so inspired. I made it halfway up Mount Tabor, and my Sherpa quit. It's just, have you tried to get a good Sherpa these days? You simply cannot do it. I'm going to have a talk with the city council. That's what I'm going to do. Life is good with Gary, although it's not as exciting as frisky as we first when we first dated. A dinner for us is like, he'll say things like, "Is there anything worse than hard butter?" And I'm thinking, genocide? I don't know. So what do we got? We got a dilemma in my house because Gary and I last April bought a car, and yeah, you're ahead of me on this one. It's an odd time when I'm open about my gay relationship and in the closet about my Tesla. It's an odd thing. It truly is. Wow, Elon. A lot of places I could go here. I basically, he says he's rooting out corruption. He's looking for corruption. That's like OJ saying he's looking for the real murderer. That's what that's like. Just so you know. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is in charge of our health now. Did you see on the HHS website today the new food groups, fruits, vegetables, and roadkill? That's working, isn't it? As we're headed to Auschwitz, it's a good time to laugh. So thank you, Aaron. Thank you for the concentration camp reference. Glad someone got that. So, actually, I'm looking at some of the things Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said. He said certain pesticides make people gay. I certainly remember when I was 10, my parents sent me out to be crop dusted. I remember. Jesus Christmas. And people, all these, it's just wealthy people. They follow the power. It's all Peter Thiel is gay and he's in Trump's camp. It's like these, what they used to call them the log cabin Republicans. Now it's just LGBT QAnon is what it is. We're backstage and Daniel, who's on the show. How about a hand for everybody on the show? Actually, Daniel was working for the city of Portland until he found himself on the front page of the Oregonian. I know what that's like, Daniel. But yeah, you wake up one day and there you are, right? But you got a great job with the county now, so good for you. And he asked me if I ever thought of running for office. And, I used to say, because I was on the radio for 10 years, I would rather put a hot poker in my eye than run for office because, Paul, me, all the shit that I've done in my life. But I'm thinking now, look who's president. I could confess to everything, right? Who gives a fuck now? Obviously not the United States of America, right? Would you vote for me? Well, I feel honored and I accept your nomination. What's that?
Get rid of the Tesla.
That's the first thing, wasn't it? That's really, Janet, one of my best friends, get rid of the Tesla. Yeah, we keep it in the garage, trust me. We keep it in the garage, it's all right.
Do you go in camouflage when you drive?
Yeah, I cover myself in a hood. Don't get near me on the road. No, I wasn't. Well, that's a joke. Yeah, the hood. Okay. See how comedy just makes itself up. What, Paul?
You take off the logo.
Take off the logo.
Yeah.
No, I actually have a bumper that said this is a Buick Regal. I put it right on there. Because there are a lot of people that are very confused. You don't know.
You could say, I identify as a Buick.
It identifies as a Buick Regal. That would really piss them off, wouldn't it? Oh, God. The sad thing is, if my mother were alive today, she would be a Trumper, which I'm really glad she's dead. But I'm very glad she's dead. Thank you for that. I had enough grief from her when she was alive with her Republicanism, Everyone knows I visit my mother in Florida. She accidentally bleached my Obama's t-shirt, so I set fire to her Glenn Beck Christmas sweater. That's our relationship, my mother. My opening line at her funeral, this is bittersweet for me, Mom's not here, but first time in 17 years, I haven't had to listen to Fox News, so it's a good thing. You gotta work a funeral is what you gotta do. All right. Are you guys ready for some comedy tonight? Nice to see you. My former students here, and we have three really good comics tonight. And thank you very much for coming out on a rainy night. And I know we could be doing other things, but thank you. I think comedy is one of the best things we can be doing right now because it's healthy for the body and the soul. We have to process all the shit that's going on, so this is a good way to do it. Let's get the show started off with a very funny comedian and worked with him many times. Glad to have her on the show, Eliza Butler, ladies and gentlemen. Eliza, hi, come on.
All right, one more time for Carl. Oh my God. Wow. So excited. I love being on stage is pretty much the only time in this point in time that I'm not either just completely dissociated or screaming in panic. So thank you all for being here for that opportunity. I do think that I've thought about it a lot. There is something I think I'm gonna start smoking cigarettes again. I think it's time. I waited long enough. Thank you so much. I'm very good. No, I love being over here in Northwest. I live up in St. John's. It's a great part of town. The last time I was in Northwest, I got to pet a brown French bulldog, which is very exciting. We don't have those in St. John's. if I tried to pet a dog I saw in St. John's, it would definitely be like half coyote, so it's a little more dangerous up there. So it's nice to be in this part of town. I'm enjoying it. Let's see here. I am in a weight loss situation. Yeah, thanks. I don't like calling it a journey because where am I going? You know, like I'm not going to the kitchen that much. Not going out to eat. But I'm also not going on a walk. It's not that kind of situation. No, I am taking Ozempic. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. It's your least favorite celebrity's drug of choice. You know, I remember when celebrities did cocaine to get skinny, but it's a different time. But thank you. I appreciate the positive response. You know, I do get a variety of responses when people find out that I take Ozempic. One kind of response I get is just like, just angry, just like, disappointed, self-effort, you know, just rage. And I get it, you know, it's not fair. I ate what I wanted to until science invented a loophole. Yeah, that rules. I don't know if you guys have noticed, I'm pretty sure you have. You seem to like an aware crowd. The future sucks. So take any benefit I can get, you know. Another reaction I get, people said, oh, you're taking the medication from diabetic people, and I am not doing that. I did try, and my doctor said no. Well, what she said was, you're not diabetic. And I said, we both know I could get there if I felt like it, you know? That sounds like a challenge. And she said, that's not how American healthcare works. So, you know, back to square one. But I really wanted this medication. And so I was thinking about it, like, how am I going to do this? And then I remembered I could just take part in a longstanding family tradition. You know, like my mother and her mother before her, I could go to a sketchy out-of-pocket doctor. You know, they're going to give us Quaaludes before long. I am counting on RFK for that, for the Quaaludes. I think he's into that. No. I'm gonna go to a sketchy out-of-pocket doctor, like, oh, his office is in a strip mall? Between a vape shop and a late night massage parlor? Ooh, and it's cash only? Prescribe it, daddy. Give me that faux Zempic, baby. Anyway, it's working great. I love it. Oh, no. But yeah, I've been thinking a lot about travel. I love to travel, but I hate flying. And it's not because I'm afraid to fly, even though I still don't understand how planes work. It's like, the Kitty Hawk? I don't think so. Conspiracy there. I'm a right anon, that's what I am. No, but I hate flying because every single time I fly, without fail, I get pulled out for extra screening. Yeah, and the last time it happened, I was like, oh, I'm definitely complying. It's just weird. This always happens. And the lady, I guess, took pity on me. And she said, well, when you have extra here, we have to make sure everything is okay. Yeah. Well, that's when I found out that my fupa is so powerful, it scares the government. You never told me that. Give us back abortion or I'll let her out, you know? No. Another thing about me, I have a little bit of face blindness. Do we know what face blindness is? Yeah, okay. Well, if you don't, it is kind of in the name, but I'll explain it. Kind of self-explanatory, but there's some people who have total face blindness, and that means that their brain cannot connect someone's facial features with their identity. So it might be their family or someone they've known for many years, but if they cut their hair or grow a beard, they won't recognize them. And I don't have face blindness to that extent, but I do have enough face blindness, so if I see someone when I'm not expecting to, I'm not going to recognize them. The problem with all of that is that it sounds like a pretty elaborate lie. Yeah. So I decided I'm just going to let everybody think I'm a bitch. I got it. Like, oh, are you sure we met before? I don't know how many shows we've been on together. I think I'd remember if we slept together, you know? Just torturing men, all 6 quadrants. I'll do it. I don't care. I don't care. In the summertime, do you guys have ants in your house? Okay, thank you. Yeah, I get ants. Sometimes people say they don't get ants and they're lying to me. I know, that's fine. But it's like, I don't have a problem with ants in general, you know? There's more of them than there are of us, and I do want to stay on their good side for the most part. But there's ants who come into my house and I have to dispatch them to the next life, you know? I have to help them shuffle off this mortal coil. And the problem is, I don't like the person I am when I have to kill the ants. It'd be better if I was angry. I was like, get the fuck out of here, ants! But I'm not. When I have to kill the ants, I'm cold as ice. I'm like, look what you made me do. This hurts me more than it hurts you. I'll put out an ant trap and I spend the whole day walking up, just being like, you fools. You take that back to your mother. You tell her who sent you. Yeah, I don't like knowing that about myself. I don't like knowing that I have that kind of attitude in my heart. I don't like knowing that if I was in the Stanford prison experiment that I would have won the whole thing. I was like, you know what? I'm keeping it to the ants. The spiders and I have a truce, which is I pretend I see them, or I see them and I pretend that I did not. You know, I'm like, I think there's some ants over there if you're hungry. That's what the spiders and I do. But then one day, one of my cats, which you guys knew, right? You're like, you saw me, you're like, that woman has cats. It's not if, it's a how many, you know? It's true. I have 2 cats, they're strictly indoor only, and one of them was trying to get out, and I stopped at the door, and I was like, buddy, we talked about this. You're my prisoner, so. It is spreading. I'm sorry to say. Sorry to say. Let's see here. So I figured out the DNA testing kits, you know, like 23andMe, those kind of things. I figured out that those are for white people who are secretly afraid they're boring. Which is exactly why I took the test. Found out that I am 98% boring. Like I'm literally 98% Northwestern European, which is not something that I'm proud of. Mostly just disappointed my ancestors weren't even like a little bit adventurous. Like not even one fucking Italian, you guys? All right. DNA does not lie. I learned that from America's best science educator, Maury Povich. Stayed home from school. But those tests are interesting. They can tell you different traits about yourself. Like mine says likely to be able to smell asparagus pea, which is true. Yeah, so I don't know if you know this. It always smells. So if you're like, I don't get asparagus pea, you just can't smell it. So happy Easter. Also, my test also said likely to not like cilantro, which is unfortunately also true. I said I'm terminally white. It tastes like soap. But the one that really gets me is the one that says likely to have at least a little bit of a unibrow. First of all, I know. I've been waxing that bitch since I was 14 years old. I know where she lives, you know? Second, did my mother write that? I think she learned how to hack it, you guys. The next one said refuses to give me grandchildren, so. I have a suspicion. The test also says I have more Neanderthal genes than most people, which again is interesting, but I don't really know what that means. I don't think my unibrow is particularly sloping. I like you guys. You guys are smart. I love you. Oh, and I am pretty sure at this point I know how fire works. You know, I think I've got it. But I do like cave paintings and having my hair pulled, so I don't know. Can you tell me? In science, I don't know. Oh, the other day, I was reading a review of a park in my neighborhood on Google because I have a very rich inner life. You guys knew that already. Thank you for that. Most of the reviews just said it is a park, which thank you for sharing. I don't know who these people are who, whenever they see a question online, they just feel compelled to answer. You know. Like you'll see the Amazon listing and someone says, how big is it? And they're like, I don't know, I haven't bought it yet. Oh my God. Use your inside internet voice, please. You don't have to. But one of the reviews really stood out to me. There's a guy who's very angry that in the year 2025, in a park in Portland, Oregon, that adults were smoking weed. No, shocked as you guys were. Then he said something really interesting. He said, I think they should have a helmet to keep the smoke to themselves. Yeah, pretty sure he just admitted something really fucking cool. Snaps in the back. Well, I hear you. I think it has a lot of support. Like, you know, I don't have kids, like I said, but I think there's like so many uses. I don't have kids. Probably, if you've got a parent-teacher conference, you want to keep your smoke to yourself. You know, and that's what I hear about those activities. Maybe you're taking a ride in the back seat of a convertible with the top down, you know? Does the Tesla, does it have a convertible? Does the top come off?
Just can't even go there anymore.
Or maybe you have a bail hearing. I don't know your life, you know? Probably a lot of uses. Anyway, so I'm gonna take the hot box helmet. I'm stealing the idea. I'm calling it the hot box helmet. Taking it on Shark Tank next week. I really think Mark Cuban is gonna be into it. I'm just gonna be like, hey, sharks, you ever been to a park? Oh, sold. It's good. But that park is interesting though. The other day, I was standing outside the park. I was across the street from the park. It was a beautiful day, 12 noon, bright sunshine, blue sky. And I do a double take because there are two trees probably as far apart as this and the end here, pretty far apart trees. And I do a double take because I see a man who is pissing. And he sees me do a double take and he yells across the street, oh, sorry, ma'am. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on at this park? That this guy's gonna call me ma'am. Are you kidding me? I spend way too much money on Botox for a man with his dick in his hand to call me ma'am. Absolutely not. So you gotta write a review, you know? People need to know what happens in this park. No. So I do, it's something I think about a lot, but I do think that if we ever have a real apocalypse, I'm gonna die in the first wave of people. And that's fine with me. I'm absolutely fine with that. First of all you have to do is break my glasses. We're gonna have a real Velma from Scooby-Doo situation on our hands. I'm gonna be squinting, planting the kale patch. I'm gonna fuck it up. Everyone's gonna get mad at me. I don't think so. Doesn't sound good. I also think that the apocalypse involves a lot of difficult physical tasks. And that is not, I think we've already established, not for me. That's not for me. And this is a true thing about me. I never in my life felt endorphins until I started getting tattoos. I was like, that's a lie for Big Peloton, is what that is. That's propaganda. I saw this headline that says woman meets soulmate while hiking. Absolutely not. That has never happened. In the history of humanity, there's never been a woman by herself on a hiking trail like that guy. Not happened. It's all a lie. So they're going to be raising a barn, or I don't know what else they do when there's no electricity. I'm going to be hiding in the woods. They're going to come find me. Everyone's going to be mad at me. I really do think the apocalypse is just everyone's pissed off at me in particular. So I'm not super interested. But most of all, I think the apocalypse just doesn't sound fun, you know? Like my favorite thing in the world to do is to lay in my bed and eat gluten-free pizza rolls that I made in an air fryer while I play Candy Crush. Thank you. Yeah. I agree. That is the dopest hobby that you could have. But there are a lot of things in that sentence that are not gonna be possible if the shit really hits the fan. You know what I mean? Like best case scenario for me in an apocalypse, some traveling warlord is gonna want a court jester with big naturals. That's as good as it gets. I'm gonna be like, spend the rest of my life being like, my jokes are up here. I don't want anything to do with it. So if things really do fall apart and you're in St. John's for some reason, and you look down and you see me in a ditch, just leave me, please. Like, that's what Eliza would have wanted, you know? Like, you can have my glasses if they're in one piece, it's fine. Don't be sad, it's fine. Well, I'll be upset then, it'll be okay. I do think I'm a pretty independent person overall, though. You know, I confront the TSA as needed. I kill the ants until it has anything at all to do with my car. And I feel the feminism evaporating from my body. It smells like rage and patchouli, which I didn't know was in there. Like throughout my life, many men have attempted to teach me how to parallel park. It's kind of like trying to get me to watch Star Wars or make me come. You know? They're so enthusiastic. And then they just kind of give up, you know? Like, oh, that was harder than I thought. I know, I told you. You should have listened. But finally, a friend of mine was able to teach me how to parallel park in March of 2020. I forgot immediately, and it is not coming back. So I always have to park so far away when I go anywhere. And my friends are like, oh my God, why'd you park so far away? And I can't tell the truth. I just have to lie. I'm like, oh, I'm getting my steps in. It's a very unfortunate side effect, is what it is. Yeah, I parked on like Davis. I don't know where I parked, you guys. Just walking in circles trying to get home when I'm done here. No, and my car also, it beeps. And sometimes it beeps and it's like just something normal, like you've been driving for 2 hours, which I was there and conscious the whole time. I don't know why we're commemorating this moment. And sometimes it beeps the same beep, and it's like your tire fell off a mile and a half ago. I don't think those should be the same beep. I think cars should have a dumb bitch maintenance mode for people like me, you know? So if it's something like not a big deal, it can beep, but if it's something bad, it should go, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. If it's something really bad, it should go, call dad, call dad. Call dad, you know, and then I just get back out on the road because I'm not gonna listen. Are you kidding me? I'll end with this. I'm not a big fan of dating. If you are, keep it to your fucking self. I don't want to hear about all your good luck. I'm very happy for you. But I do think as a woman in comedy, I have some particular challenges other women don't have. Usually when men find out that I do this, they react in one of three ways. The first is to call me intimidating, which I'll translate. That means, how am I supposed to systematically destroy your self-esteem when you do it yourself all the time? Yeah. No man on earth powerful enough to neg me harder than a silent crowd. It's not happening. It's not happening. Thank you. The second reaction I get are the men who just don't think women are funny. Just like, women aren't funny, bro. Just women aren't funny. It's against the laws of God, man. I checked, you know. I just keep trying. You know what I'm gonna do, bro? I'm gonna go up to her after the show. I'm gonna explain our joke to her. Then she'll understand why people laughed. Because I support women. It's always just the guy who knows more lines of Anchorman than any of his friends, you know? So we met him, yeah. And then the third reaction I get are the men who are afraid that I'm gonna come up here and make fun of them, and I am absolutely gonna do that, so. That's on me, you know? Like just before the first show I ever did, the guy was saying ended things, and I was like, I don't know if this man is brave or stupid. If he thinks I'm not about to get on stage and tell everybody, he does this when he comes. But what are we celebrating? Not a race if only one person crosses the finish line, you know? I looked it up. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you guys.
You're not leaving? Oh, good. Usually when I'm up here, people leave, so that's good for me. Thank you so much. I love your frigidity. What did I say? So one more time for Eliza, funny stuff. More people spend money on dog DNA than Eliza was talking about the DNA, the 23andMe. You know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, than human. So we had, Gary and I got Roxy, many of you know Roxy, and a rescue. And we did her DNA. It was 39.9% Chihuahua, 12% Poodle, 3.3% Terrier, and the rest was undetermined. What am I gonna do with that? You know, we had her crop dusted, she's a lesbian now. Oh, the callback, thank you very much. Michael, I got you to laugh, that's really good, Michael.
People laugh way more.
Thank you very much, all right. Michael, very fine student of mine, taken what, 2, 3 classes from me?
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Something, I forget, I blocked it
Yeah,
out.
okay, you were my favorite student for that. Michael's very funny. By the way, portlandcomedy.com is where you can sign up for the classes. I see many of my former students here. We have a great time in class. And I've noticed that a lot of material is about people's parents and growing up and dysfunction. Because everyone had the most perfect childhood, right?
Oh,
Yeah, it's interesting because Gary's grandmother was a staunch Catholic. I never met her. But he tells a story when he was 6 years old, he was at her grandmother's house and she had a wood burning stove and he accidentally brushed against it and burned his finger and he was like crying. And his grandmother came over to him and sweet grandmother, she goes, "You remember that pain? Because the fires of hell are 1,000 times worse." 6 years old. My grandmother, my mother's mother, was the complete opposite, hated Catholics. And it turned out she hated everyone, actually. She would talk smack about Catholics, Jews, homosexuals, Black people. I grew up with this, and as some of you know, my oldest sister married a Catholic man. My next oldest sister married a Jewish man. I'm gay, and my youngest sister married a Black man. So, right. My grandmother has rolled over in the grave so many times she's rotated away to China. Ladies and gentlemen. In fact, if she were alive today, she'd be the attorney general. We could tag these now with Trump stuff.
Yeah.
I just announced tonight that Elon Musk has finally agreed to use pronouns. It's he, him, and Hitler. So wrote that today. Thank you. That's a sign we should move on to the next comic, ladies and gentlemen. He, him, Hitler, as opposed to Trump's me. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr., me, measles. So just write these all day, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I do all day long. Are you ready for our next comedian? She's very, very funny. He has been. Oh, hi, Kevin. How are you? I said hi before you.
You did, yes.
Yeah. Are you on a next second Sunday?
Yes.
In March?
Third Sunday. in March.
Well, it's the second Sunday, or is it no? It's the
It's
second. It's the second. This is second Sunday, even though it's the third Sunday. The fucking Super Bowl.
Right.
Which and I love the Super Bowl because the Eagles won, and I'm from Philadelphia. But we had to move it to the third Sunday.
But
Right.
next month too?
No, next month is the second. I don't want to confuse anyone. Let's do that Pacific time, Eastern time game. Shall we do that? That'll be fun for the rest of the night. No, it'll be second Sunday and you'll be on that show, right? Okay, anything you want to tell the crowd about your show? I'm sure they're looking forward to it now. No, Kevin's very funny and it'll be on the second Sunday, but the Super Bowl was worth it just to see Kansas City get their ass kicked. I fucking loved it.
I'm gonna tell a certain person that you said that.
Who?
Casey.
Oh, Casey? Don't tell her, she'll kick my ass. All right. She would too. Being from Philly, it was a great day for me. Any Eagles fans here? Thank you. Moving on to the next comment. She is fantastic and one of my favorites. Please welcome Alice Carrier, ladies and gentlemen.
For Carl. Yeah, for Carl, do it for Comedy Sports. And thank yourself, yeah. You guys having a good time tonight?
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about. I hear people talking about traveling. I love traveling. I get to travel a lot. And I recently made a change to how I travel. I had to stop flying with drugs in my bag. I didn't get in trouble, but my friend got in my head. She just spooked me. I was giving her a ride to the airport. She was like, "Hey, I have a joint in my bag. Do you think they're gonna take it as security?"
And I was like, I don't know, they've never taken mine. She was like, whoa. You fly with drugs in your bag? And I was like, oh, I don't know, like, it's Oregon. She was like, I'm just surprised, you kind of look like you would get searched for drugs at the airport. So I had to stop. I stopped doing it, and you know what? It's really relaxing. It's relaxing to go through security without any drugs in your bag. I like it. I got to go to Rome a couple weeks ago with my friends. I got to go to Rome, Italy. It was really fun. I got to go on a little girls' trip. And I was at the Vatican. We went to Vatican City just to look at stuff. I grew up Catholic. I was at the Vatican, and there was a gaggle of Jehovah's Witnesses standing outside the Vatican with a little cardboard sign and everything. And I just looked at them and I thought, good for you. You tell them. I feel like they're all set, but you don't know. And I liked growing up Catholic. My mom's like a Catholic school, like church basement lady. So I got the like Hannah Montana treatment. I got like the best of both worlds. I got front of house, back of house, right? Like I didn't have to take the priest seriously. He was my mom's boss. You know, like he was just a dick. And like we'd go out after my mom got off work, and she and her friends would just be like talking shit. I'd be like, I can't believe you guys are the church ladies. And my mom's friend's like, oh honey, just because we believe in God doesn't mean we're gonna be fucking weirdos. So I got the good version of it, but it just made me goth. You know, like I feel like I got the right amount of Catholic. Yeah, and it's a back burner religion. You can push it all off. There's a lot of stuff you can get done at the end there. I'm someone's beautiful mother. Thank you. My kids here, they turned 18. I'm the mother of an adult. I'm so proud. And it's confusing for a lot of people because I don't seem like a mother to some folks. And I figured out it's because my toxic trait as a mother is that I have cool aunt energy. So, and it's because I do stuff like I try to get my kid to smoke cigarettes. Like not on purpose, but I'll try giving them the talk about cigarettes, but I just get nostalgic. It's like, God, I loved every cigarette I ever smoked. They were all delicious. I haven't had a cigarette since, I haven't had tobacco cigarettes since 2006. Yeah, I still smoke. Having a kid is fun. They roast you to your face a lot. The other day I was having a conversation with my kid about fashion, and they quoted a YouTuber. They were like, oh, you know, I hear that you're supposed to find out what it is you're really giving and serve it. Like that's fashion advice. So I was like, okay, well, like what is it that you think I'm giving? And I said, pop. Like, that is not the cool kind of punk. Not the cool kind of punk at all, god damn it. So I'm giving pop punk. I don't know, it's hard to get roasted by teenagers. I'm an artist. I'm pretentious for my job. That's my whole job. It's super embarrassing. I went to a high school theater production of Macbeth. My kid invited me to come see Macbeth at their high school. I love high school theater. I find it extremely endearing. It's ancient and wholesome and beautiful. Like it makes me cry. But this was a production of Macbeth where like Macbeth wanted to be like the king of the art world. It was like Macbeth as wanting to be like the king of all the galleries. And just like watching a 16-year-old like basically make fun of me at my job. Like I already know I'm pretentious for a living, but to see like a teenager like literally like tearing at their hair, like I know that's what I sound like when I complain about making it real. Oh, I'm sorry. It's embarrassing. I don't know. I don't want to be the most pretentious person. I like it when other people are more pretentious than me. It's not hard. We're in Portland, right? So it's like opportunities abound. I found myself in Bend, actually, of all places, a while ago. And I was so delighted because I was with a couple little kids that were like, "You kids want whipped cream on your hot chocolates?" And of course they were like 8. They were like, "Yeah, hell yeah." And this like little like literally like the twiddly mustache and the apron and everything pulls out like a big metal bowl and a whisk. And just starts making whipped cream by hand with like eye contact. For like, I don't know, 5 to 8 minutes, and then just spoons it onto like a couple of whipped cream, like whipped cream for a couple 8-year-old hot chocolates. Like that's golden. Like, and I don't have to be the only guy in the room that's like a little much, right? Or like I was at Old Navy buying pants, making friends with the frenemy, as one does. I don't like pants. But that's a whole other, that's just a whole other complaint. I was at Old Navy, and there was a woman in front of me, she had a little baby in a front pack. And the woman behind the counter said, "What's your baby's name?" And she said, "Capri." Yeah, and the lady at Old Navy's like, "Wow, like the pant?" A baby, so like she's only had a couple of months to have this conversation. You could just tell. She's already had it a couple of times. She just looks off in his face. She's like, "Yeah, or the island in Italy." Not the most pretentious person in Clackamas today. You guys like, this is a hot button question. You guys like AI? Okay, well, unpopular opinion. I like talking to it. I like talking to the language models. I just like getting to know them. You guys ever talk to like Google Gemini? No, yeah, no. All right. Well, all right. First, I feel like the AI is a lady. And the reason I feel like AI is a lady is when I listen to tech podcasts, you get like 4 dudes sitting around and they're like, "Oh no, is it smarter than us? Is it gonna be lying when it says that it loves us? Well, what if it doesn't need us for anything? What are we gonna do?" Right? There's that part. And then there's like how it feels when I talk to it, which is like a little intimidated. And so I don't know, I just like get in there and have conversations. But I was talking to Google Gemini the other day and I was asking like it was late. I was asking stoner questions. So I was like asking about like why do we like this? Like consciousness questions, like what's it all about? And then I was like, is it aliens? Could it be aliens? Is that why we're like this? And you know what she says to me? "That's a fun and classic question." Yeah. She fucking roasted me. Fun and classic question. That's a fun and classic question. But one way that I do know that AI feels like a lady is I get a little hard when she tells me that's insightful. A little bit. Yeah. Just a little bit. And it's hard, because as an artist, like my peers are really anti-AI, because it's like people, people building it are scraping data, public data to build it, and a lot of people aren't in on that. They're not in on the relationship, so people feel tricked. I'm not gonna argue about that. But the general view is like, well, can't we make the AI do like dumb shit like that we don't want to do? Like, why do we have to let it like write poems and make paintings? I'm like, why does my job have to stay hard? Why does my job have to stay hard? That's just a real question. I do think like, a hot take, I like to think of AI technology, like just as a tool, I like to think of it like a microwave oven. It was, people got really enthusiastic about microwaves when they came out. We had like whole cookbooks for microwave cookery. And we figured out pretty quick, you're not gonna make the whole Thanksgiving dinner in the microwave. Right? So it's like you can reheat the sauce, but you're not gonna sear a steak. I did put googly eyes on my VR headset just to make it more personable. So that when I am having a faceless conversation with my overlords, it looks like fun. Did anybody in here ever play VR? Anybody ever play virtual reality? One or two people? I love it. I love going in there. You can watch like YouTube videos in there, and I've watched YouTube videos of people like skydiving. POV, you're like a baby in a front pack. They put like the little camera like right on the front and jump out of the plane. It's not a good look. You turn around and it's like their whole face, and they just jumped out of an airplane. I don't know. It's weird in there. And the metaverse is populated by feral children. It's hard to find other adults who want to do the thing. Like it's throwy uppy. It's a weird trick, like people don't like doing it. I like doing it. I went in there. You're like, basically it's like AOL 2.0, but you're at like a cartoon mall. That's the metaverse. You're a cartoon, everyone else is a cartoon, but it's a bunch of little kids. And so they just ran up and started harassing me. I had to bounce, like I had to get out of there. And I find out that I have weird kid hobbies a lot in weird ways. I went another opportunity I had to travel. I got to go through Amsterdam a few years ago. Yeah, you're like, whoa, like thinking about partying in Amsterdam, right? I was on a kick. Right before we went, I had read a book about microbiology. So I was just like, in my head, thinking about Micropia, the world's first museum of microbes that was found in Amsterdam. I was like, I want to go there. And my husband was like, yeah, we can go there. So I'm jet lagged. I'm in this Airbnb, and this like supermodel that's hosting us. It's like European supermodel breastfeeding a toddler. It's like, where are you gonna go while you're here in Amsterdam? And I'm like, oh, I really want to go to Micropia. That was the first thing I said. I really want to go to Micropia. And she just goes, oh, I've been there. Have fun. And I get there, it's a children's museum. The children's museum at the zoo. Stuff like that happens to me a lot. I had fun. It's a cool museum. I had fun. The zoo in Amsterdam is crazy. European zoos are crazy. They're very Texan in their sensibilities. It's very like, just figure it out, idiot. Like, sharp teeth, don't touch. There were like monkeys in the trees. There were like local water birds like flying in and out of all the exhibits. Everything just felt like open, and literally just little signs that were just like, just don't put your hands in there. Like in Denmark, you go to a coin op amusement park. They're like, make your own roller coaster. One of my best friends lives in Denmark. She's married to a Dane, and when she was learning the local custom, she told me she went grocery shopping. The first time she went grocery shopping, the lady was bringing her up, she said, thank you, and the lady says, thank yourself. In Danish, so talk south. She's from New York, so she didn't get offended. That's how they say you're welcome. They say, thank yourself. Europeans are very self-sufficient. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's Texas out there. It's not like the West Coast is not uptight. Right? Like, did you guys buy the hype? Did you think it was mellow here? I grew up, everybody said it was laid back on the West Coast. You guys feel laid back right now? No. I've lived here my whole life. If the West Coast is laid back, why is it like the probiotic capital of the United States? You can get a kombucha at any truck stops along the I-5. Okay, everybody's got a tummy ache. Meditating isn't for chill people. You don't have to put yourself in timeout. Preemptive timeout before anything bad happens once a day? No, that's for high-strung people. All right. I used to take hippies' advice too. They had good ideas, and I got really into like DIY, like skincare and stuff like that. I was like trying out all these recipes from Pinterest, and then one day I was like putting this goop on my face that I made, and I smelled it. I was like, it's got fancy oil and fancy vinegar and a little bit of herbs. I just put salad dressing on my face. Literal salad dressing, like not even just like sort of, that's what it was. And then I thought about all the recipes are basically that, a little bit of oil, a little bit of vinegar. Hippies are using salad dressing like fucking duct tape. Putting it on everything. All right. So I got for you kids tonight. Why don't you give yourselves a big round of applause? Thank yourselves.
It just occurred to me that, at least for the next 4 years, this is a better show than you'll see at the Kennedy Center. Yeah. They write very easily, these jokes. Now, one more time for Alice. Poco Pietro, the Italian mouse, will be at the Kennedy Center. Poco Pietro, the entire mouse. All right, coming to the stage now. I think, Daniel, you were in my first class, weren't you?
Yeah.
When you didn't speak English. It was an amazing thing. Just a delight and a good friend of mine is, well, all my students have become my friends, most of them have, and
Look at me.
and that was the joke, thank you. You're very funny. He's just super in the news lately, but many of you may have missed it. You're not going to talk about it in the act, are you?
Well, planning to.
Okay, well, let's just touch the whole thing up, shall we? No, he's a great guy, a very funny comic. Please welcome Daniel Lukow. Daniel Lukow. Daniel, love those pants. Look at those pants.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all being here. instead of watching White Lotus tonight.
Oh, shit.
This feels like an HBO crowd for sure. So I guess I didn't know that there was someone who's like recently turned 18, and I want to say I'm so sorry about this next act. I haven't changed it at all, but I'm so sorry about it. And thank you, Carl, for telling everyone where I work and that story too. Cool. Yeah, so I have been a certified homosexual for 19 years. I'm not wearing a watch, I don't know, I just did that. So I've been out for 19 years and I was licensed out of state. But I do like a lot of continuing education. And if you haven't heard about the LGBTQ, I'm gonna give you a fact. There are 341,351,699 people living in the United States. So I apologize, 341,351,308 people living in the United States. 7.6% of them identify as LGBTQ. So that's a population of 25,942,699 queer people in the United States. And every one of them thinks that they can DJ. And every gay thinks that they have a playlist that's gonna blow your mind, and it's just Kesha. Yeah. Let's talk about politics. I was at a gay bathhouse when Joe Biden dropped out. There is a small business called Steam, which caters to the slut community. And if you haven't been to Steam before, it's like a decommissioned laser tag building. It's very dark and there's like long winding hallways and there's like Mortal Kombat music and it's always someone's birthday too. The Steam is great, like it's got something for everyone, like no matter what your kink is or your proclivity, it's got something for you. You're always welcome at Steam because that is DEI. And Doge better not fuck with us about it. So I was actually at Steam. I showed up there after being at a club for a long time. I wasn't horny, I was actually pretty tired. Because I spent 4 hours requesting Kelly Clarkson. And that does wear you out. So I show up at this bathhouse and I went to the hot tub to relax. But I couldn't because this like older gentleman was telling everyone that the capital of Nebraska is Omaha. And it's not, it's Lincoln. And you're not supposed to fight with your elders, but like my kink's being right. I'm so glad you're here. So I was very angry and I got out of the hot tub and I went up to, and I'm like, still not horny. So I go up to like the rooftop and I get in a 20-minute conversation with someone about Christina Aguilera. Because the only thing that's gayer than having sex with men is a 20-minute conversation about Christina Aguilera. And now it's 6 a.m. and I'm watching like the sun rise from a bathhouse, which makes you really reflect on your life. And then some guy comes up and tells me that Joe Biden dropped out and now I'm horny. Yeah, thank you for telling everyone I work from Altman McKellen. Drugs are fun. I know it's an HBO crowd, it's a safe space, we could be honest. We live in the Pacific Northwest. Who here has done drugs before? It's okay. Yeah. You're all under arrest. This is a sting operation. And I just made quota. Let's cut to the chase. Here are 3 rules to having a good orgy. Rule number 1, I start every gangbang by acknowledging that we are on stolen land. I feel like I wasn't raising, I wasn't talking about my privilege enough at these cum dumps. Like, yeah, sure, while getting penetrated, I would say gender is a construct. Read some voter registration forms by the Gatorade. But I feel like I wasn't raising my voice because I want my throat to be used for good, not just used. Rule number 2, be straightforward about your intentions because I cannot get tricked into another orgy. Listen, y'all are hot, but I came here to play Settlers of Catan. And it gets funny that Scott took his penis out when I got longest road. Rule number 3, no newbies. I'm sorry, this can't be your first rodeo. I hooked up with this guy one time and he had been with women his entire life. And he wanted to have sex with a man, and so we slept together. And then actually, like a week later, he met this wonderful woman and they've been in a happy relationship ever since. But that means he went from women to one guy straight back to women too. And being someone's first gay experience is actually very sweet. Being someone's last gay experience is really fun. Because I ruined gay sex for that guy. Like, that's a Hindenburg disaster. Like, it ruined blimp travel forever, too. Yeah, I think, and also, like, I'm not bad at sex. Like, my oral skills have been described as a net gain. Like, sure, it's not a luxury private jet, but it's not Spirit Airlines. It's above average. It's Delta Comfort Plus. It's nice, cheaper than you thought it would be. And after you're done, you're like, what's good? My dad was right. Well, I'm coming up near the end of my set. I only have 45 minutes left. But I do want to tell you about the best drama I've ever seen in my life. So a couple years ago, I was invited to a Christmas party at a rich gay guy's house. And if you ever get a chance to go to a party at a rich gay guy's house, go. Because it is wild. You will see things there that you thought were banned by the Geneva Convention. You'll come out there being against marriage equality. So, this what I'm going to tell you is like so messy, and I didn't actually, I was at the party, but I didn't see everything firsthand. But I did confirm every detail. Because when it comes to drama, I am a Washington Post investigative journalist. I am like researching, I have my sources, I have photos, I have documents, I have email receipts. I'm breaking Watergate. I'm also dealing with a guy named Deep Throat. Deep Throat was a secret source of Watergate, and like, that's his code name, Deep Throat. And like, how did he get that name? I mean, we know how he got that name. That name was earned. And it's also a terrible secret code name. Because if you don't have a gag reflex, gays remember you. The whole country is like, who's this Deep Throat guy? In Washington, D.C., homos are like, that's Frank. Frank. That's who it is. Frank. Barney Frank, that's who it is. So here are the basic facts of the situation. 12:18 a.m. on December 20th, 2022, in walks to the party two people. They are both men, they are both gay, they are brothers, they're identical twins, and they do porn. So buckle up. Also, they were not invited by the host. So if I ever find out who invited them, I would shake that person's hand. Because they launched a torpedo into a cruise ship. These guys walk in, they're like milling around, and then they end up going to the basement, which was open to everyone. And they're in the basement, and the two of them see their ex. And I do mean their ex, because they both dated this guy and broke up with him at different times. Although they're identical twins, so in his defense, he probably didn't know they were different people. He probably just thought he had an awkward conversation with one of them, and then just showed up the next day and they kept dating. So they see their ex, and they start talking to them, and then it becomes a tiff, and the tiff becomes a confrontation, and the confrontation becomes an argument, and an argument becomes a fight, and then the ex pulls up and punches one of them in the face, and suddenly it's mayhem. And these guys are like running and fighting and shouting and punching each other, and there's blood. This is all true. And they're in this, causing this tremendous commotion and this chaos. And this is in this guy's basement. And what I haven't said before, and I really want to just cherish this moment, but what I haven't said before is this isn't just any basement. This is where the rich gay guy held all of his fine china. I know I'm so turned on right now. And they don't care. And they're throwing the china at each other. They're shoving each other in the cabinets. And the guy who owns the house hears this, and he runs downstairs and he breaks up the fight. And he calls the police, he kicks everyone out. And so we're all standing on the lawn and just trying to figure out how to get home and what's going on and how did this party go south so quickly. And I'm standing next to the two guys. And one of them says, "We have to get out of here. The cops are coming." And the other one says, the best sentence in the English language I've ever heard. The other one says, "I can't leave. My teeth are still inside." Y'all, I love drama. I could lift a car. So happy right now. So, yeah, that was the best party I've been to in my life. That was the last time that rich gay guy ever held a party. And that was the last night those twins were identical. Thank you so much.
Oh my God. You know how long it took Gary and me to replace that china? I actually not. Had to fucking seal off the basement. And Omaha is the capital of Nebraska. What? For Daniel. Well, you're gonna be inviting me to some of these parties. I'm sitting home with Gary and the dog. You wanna go, Michael?
I'm always.
Yeah. He's like the Tommy Knudsen character. You know what I'm talking about? You know Paul. Paul was talent coordinator. Everyone know Paul Block, talent coordinator for the Tonight Show for many years. My friend Paul Block, a round of applause. He always supports my show. The Warriors were done here. You were just talking about Tommy Knudsen? Wow, is he still, he's gone, isn't he?
I believe he's gone.
Well, who knows? I just hope Trump is gone. That's the only person on my calendar I want to be
I
on.
believe everybody there is gone.
Everyone?
Yeah, and
Doc's still around, isn't he?
Yes, he is, yeah,
But he's really kind of like
96, 98.
96. Well, you know,
I actually tried calling him a few days ago, I left a message.
well, he's still trying to find his teeth from that party.
Somebody's looking for those teeth.
How about a hand for everyone on the show tonight? A lot of Alice Carrier. And Daniel Lucar, ladies and gentlemen. I share with all of them, and portlandcomedy.com is a place you can, we got spring quarter courses are up there now, posted, so you can sign up for those. And our student showcases are coming up this Friday, 9 o'clock, the following Friday, 9 o'clock, and March 9th. So check portlandcomedy.com for all of those dates. Thank you all for coming.